What is going on? I want to thank you for coming to Vape with the Viking. So today what I got for you was a very much anticipated mod. That is the Steamcrave Hadron Lite 100 watt side-by-side device here. So yeah, you know, I've been waiting on this one for a bit. I've been jumping, like every time they post on the Steamcrave fan page, I'm like, where is it? When's it coming out? Come on, hurry. So just because really got into side-by-sides there for a bit, and I actually had designed my own mech side-by-side, and a lot of the features they did with this is what I actually incorporated into mine. So I've scrapped that idea, by the way, because of the some of the similarities. But so when it came out and I saw it for the first time, I had it in my hand, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I was doing, just mechanical. So, and since this does volts mode, boom, don't even need to worry about it. I'm done. So scrap that thing. One thing I believe I did say in the dive down, and I haven't said on a lot of devices because I forget to, but as you'll see here, if you see this on any of my posts or anything, and you see where did that plug thing come from on the USB, I actually have a pack of USB-C and a pack of the old micro USB plugs, so that if you have a device that has an external battery to it and you take it out and charge the battery like you're supposed to, and that port is only for like emergency charging or for updating, I put a little plug in there. So if you're wondering where I got them like on Amazon, because that's not vape related. I can say that, right? Anyway, so I got them on Amazon. They're like a couple bucks for like a pack of like 25 or 50 or something like that. Something to put just kind of in your vape toolkit or, you know, whatever, just to have them so that if you have a plug, you know, you don't want to get gunked up, and you know you're not going to use it for the other purposes, but for updating only, put a little plug in there. So just thought I'd throw that out there. It's kind of something interesting. I never really voiced, I think, before. So what I got on top of it, this is going to be a review for later, but we have the Atemporal, which is going to be kind of hard to see, all that black, and the way my lighting works doesn't work real well. But the Atemporal is a RTA that is coming out with Dan Vape, and it's a collaboration between Dan Vape and the Mind Flayer, if I remember right. So, but that is for another review. But if you're just wondering what the hell is that, because the Hadron Lite combo, if you get the combo, does come with the Supreme V3, or you can buy just the mod itself. But before we get into all the rest of that, let's hit up a little Vape Advocacy. Like I said, I don't know how many videos I got, 100 times before at least, something like that. Go on to Twitter and definitely follow and keep up to date with who I call the Vape Advocate Generals. That is Bogan, Grim Green, Matt Suck My Mod, Phil Dimitri, and there's a plethora of others. I apologize if you're watching this and you're one of those. Those are the ones that just always pop in my head first, because also they're kind of the forerunners. They're involved as much as they definitely can, and you can see some of the political connections that they're making, and if anything, just see what's going on so you stay informed. But if you can, do some support through them, or if they're asking, hey, can you retweet this, or hey, check this out and fill out this form or whatever for, you know, legislation, fighting for whatever, definitely do it, because they are fighting for all of our rights to vape. And of course, ADHD awareness. I'm trying to bring awareness to the disorder. Yes. I know somebody out there is like, no, it's not. Yes, it is a disorder. It is proven. If you're my age or older, you'll know that that was not a thing. It's building momentum to, hey, it's a real thing. It's not just kids that, you know, aren't paying attention or just don't, you know, aren't disciplined. Back in my day, you just had no discipline, or you were out of control or a bad apple when you couldn't sit there and listen to what they were trying to say. I'm sorry, sir. I can't hear what you say. I'm listening to Nirvana right now and contemplating what is in my teeth. Oh, pretty. You know, stuff like that. But like I always say, definitely check out Jessica Maccabee's whole social presence. It's called How to ADHD. She does a lot of important videos on YouTube. Of course, she has all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, all that. But her videos, you actually get to see, sometimes she'll go in with field professionals, so doctors, scientists that are in the specific field of it, but also videos about herself and her journey through her disorder as well and coming to grips with it, but also tips and tricks for people to help them with the disorder, or even for others that don't have the disorder but they have a loved one that does, so they can even try to help out, or at least understand what we're thinking or what we're going through. For some reason, if I just start flipping out, the information she has there, my wife at least understands what's going on. It's not just, wow, what is your problem today, butt wipe? It's, this is what's going on. So I'm ready. Are you ready? Oh yeah, I think we're ready. Let's finally drop the hammer on the Hadron Lite. All right, so what I got for you today was the highly anticipated by myself, the Hadron Lite combo by Steamcrave. This is going to be their first kind of foray into the side-by-side category here. So of course on the outside it's going to show stuff as usual. This is the item number itself, Steamcrave there, color configuration. They do either do black or gunmetal. And it says 25 millimeter combo because this is actually going to come, if you look on the back, with the Supreme V3. So here's the individual item numbers if you want just the Supreme V3 or just the Lite mod. And of course, UPC, scratch authenticity. And on the inside, tons and tons of stuff. So let's take a look at that. So did not even know if I was going to be able to get this all in frame. So when you get a combo kit from Steamcrave, well, when you get anything from Steamcrave, it's a lot, but combo kits come with a plethora of stuff. So of course here you're going to have the device itself, the Supreme V3 in matching color, the mesh deck, if I turn that around correctly, there we go, the Atomizer Supreme V3 mesh deck. You got some cotton lace mesh. That's for specifically, it's the bigger diameter for the mesh. You have your USB cable for upgrading. It is a Type-C, nice braided cable here. And again, since this does have a removable battery, I'd recommend do not charge with this. Take your battery out if you can. Then you're going to get your manual for the RDTA itself, the manual for the device itself, or the mod, which I bent. That was my fault. You do have a 510 to 810 adapter. They did put these, if you could see these a little better, these are really nice. These are kind of like scratch guards. They're supposed to go onto your base of your 510 of your device. That way, by taking your Atomizer or RDA on and off, it won't scratch it, because I'll show you the surface of that here in just a moment. You do have a chimney extender for the Supreme V3. All the spares for it as well. Silicone O-rings, rubber O-rings, scrub screws, all that. You do have a replacement silicone bung here. You do have the glass, the bubble glass for it, so give you a more capacity. I think it's a 5 or 5.5 mLs. Your sticker, you do have your postless dual coil deck here. You do have some dual fuse clapped in coils that come with it here. So you're looking at an 83 millimeter, 5 wraps. And I'll do real quick shows of the decks and dual coil and single coil. If you want to see the mesh, definitely look back to this original review of just the RTA itself. You do have some battery wraps here, and you do have more of an accessory bundle. This is for the mod itself, screws and stuff like that. And of course your tri-tool is there. And if you haven't seen the review for the Supreme V3 I did a while ago, take a look here just to show you at least what it looks like. This is the mesh deck for it right here. And then this is going to be your mesh rounding tool, shaping tool. Of course, here's all the accessories, squonk pin, a couple of grub screws, stuff like that. And then you also have your manual for that specifically. You know me, I don't do mesh that well or that often, so it will get set off to the side, but what I would use it for is definitely fruits. I think fruits really shine on mesh. Okay, so take a real quick look at the manuals here. We'll look over the Supreme V3 real quick. What it's going to basically show you here that I like to point out is all your different add-ons that you can do. So velocity deck, not included. Post deck, postless deck, squonk pit included. That's what we have. The 7 mil chimney, the 5 mil chimney, which is already in there. Single coil deck, which is in there. And of course the mesh deck. So lots of different options with the Supreme V3. Then a real quick show that it shows you here how to build it. I'm gonna go over each one of those individually. So like here was the single coil deck. There's also how to adjust the airflow, so on and so forth. It even tells you how to adjust that AFC ring if you're using a dual coil versus single coil deck. It does actually make a difference. It directs the airflow differently. So the single coil deck shows you how to build all that. And then your postless dual coil deck right there. And what it's showing there is 2.5 millimeter ID builds and at 4 millimeter leg length. I think I put mine at like somewhere close to 5. I use Twisted Timmy's lucky number 7s, which are some 2.5 millimeter inner diameter alien coils. Definitely beefier than like an MTL style alien he does. They're really good for small decks. Then taking a look at the actual mod itself, it's manual. So it goes through some features here, and you can hold up to a 25 millimeter diameter RTA, and then it goes through some other stuff in the box. That's what you're going to find, which we've already taken a look at. And then it'll even tell you if you get the combo box, what all is in there. And then one thing they definitely wanted to make sure of is when you put the battery in and put in the door, stop screwing the bottom plate essentially, or battery holder, once the screen is on. And the main reason for that is you just do not want to over tighten. It can mess up the threading, or you could possibly even get it too far in, which would go past the at least buttons threading, and then you would have a bit of an issue there. Here's some parameters for it. So it tells you like size, weight, all that kind of good stuff. What different modes, which I was really excited to see that it does have voltage mode. Love using voltage mode. Some protective features, screen showing, operation instructions, which we'll take a look at, different modes, so on and so forth. And it does show you kind of a couple different devices on there. There's the MTL, their new classic MTL RTA, and then the Supreme V3. Definitely have tried both on here. I definitely like a kind of a bigger device. You get past that button, which I'll show you there. The MTL was okay on there, but you have to have a pretty decently long 510 drip tip. All right, so the device itself here's what you're looking at. And like I said, sorry that it's got a little bit of dirtiness to it. I have used this, tried to test it out on a couple devices real quick when I got here. But overall, you got that kind of zinc alloy, so it's nice and got a good amount of weight to it. And then, of course, your fire button right up here. So it is definitely one of those mods that is meant for thumb firing as much as you want. You could try to turn it around and do it like this. It works, but this is the intended purpose, in my opinion. And when we do the FaceTime, it works really well. I actually had an idea for something like this before on a mechanical one. Put the device here, so when you go and bring it towards you and tip it up to your mouth, that fire button's just right there. Works really well. So, and then when you take the battery cover off here, pre-installed will be the 18650 adapter, just snug in there. Little Steamcrave, thought that was neat. On the bottom of the device here, you can see, all right, so yeah, right in there, you can see the plus is that towards the top. So positive to the top there. We'll throw in a Samsung 40T. I use those for the regulated because they give you the most amount of mAh. And this is what they mean by take your plate here, screw it in until the screen comes on. So you don't want to get real meaty with it. So there you go. So as soon as you see that, boom, stop screwing that in, and it doesn't rattle. There's no play. So don't worry about, well, I don't have it tight enough. It is definitely tight enough. And of course, on the bottom, you're going to see your plus and your minuses. You're going to see your item number there. You have some venting here on the battery door itself. Something that I do, I have these little USB plugs. So I put this for the type C that this is. So you got type C here. I put a plug in there because, again, unless I'm upgrading the firmware, I want to keep it closed to not get anything in it as well. So right up here, you're going to see there is some venting here as well. So you have your top here and your bottom. So some people might not like that design because it's like, well, that'd be kind of pointed closer to your face. But remember, you should have an atomizer up here, so it will actually block it as well. So in the unfortunate incident, you do have a vent. If it doesn't come out the bottom and comes up here, is probably going to mess up the device and your atomizer. So definitely battery safety is the key there. So, and as you see, there is the spring-loaded 510, and it definitely is spring-loaded. It's got a nice little push to it. And that's why they gave you these little protectors or guards, the Atomizer guards, because it is a very satiny type of stainless steel finish. So if you definitely are worried about scratching it up, put one of those guys on there. All right, so you got your fire button here, and like it'll tell you right there, check Atomizer, but then it'll come back to your screen. I have it in voltage mode, so you see it's at a 3.5. So if we hit the minus, hold that down, and hit the fire button, you have your screen lock there. So now you see it will make it so you can't go up or down. It's locked. So again, hold it, the negative, fire, and it unlocks it there. If you hold the power up or plus and the fire button, that is going to be your puff reset. So we're not going to, and we can go ahead and do that there. Let's go and clear the puff there. And then 3 clicks on the fire, 1, 2, 3. That's going to get into your different modes. So there's stainless steel, nickel, titanium, your bypass mode. Now you're to your wattage. So we'll go up in wattage. Goes up to 100 watts. It does not round robin. It will just go max power once you keep hitting the plus, or all the way down to 5 watts. And again, does not round robin, does not give you a message that you're at the lowest power. 1, 2, 3. And now we're back to voltage, and that's where usually I will keep it. And you can go from 1 volt all the way up to 8 volts. And that is what it's going to look like with a 25 millimeter RTA on there. In my opinion, I know the MTL, the new classic, they showed that on there, but in my opinion, this is where it's at. If you don't have a crazy build in a dual coil, or if you have a 25 millimeter RTA single coil like the Blotto single, something like that, that'll fit on here, it looks absolutely amazing in this mode here. One thing I do not know yet, and we'll take a look here, is can it fit the Supreme with the bubble glass on this device? All right, so with the bubble glass, it will not clear. Okay. I was making sure because I thought maybe it would have been high enough, but yeah, it's not going to clear. So you cannot run the bubble glass. It's just off just a smidge, but definitely looking forward for this setup here. Was actually looking forward to this as well because I have 2 Supreme V3s, one in stainless, one in black, but my first black one I got actually came with a purple drip tip. You know me, I love black and red, so I was pretty stoked when I opened this up. Saw, of course, it was black, but it was the red drip tip, so that's really awesome. So we'll real quick just go over a couple little features. Like I said, I've already done this review, so you can go back and look at that more of an in-depth. But in normal Steamcrave fashion, you have, of course, your bottom plate, which unscrews, and then that'll expose your push-in deck there. And here in just a moment, I will show you how I have my single coil and my dual coil set up on the other. And then, of course, you have your airflow here. It goes from your 3 lines. I think it's like a total of like 12 holes. And then you have your 2 lines here. As soon as I get this back together so it spins correctly, your 2 lines that are there, and then your 1 line. And if you look in the manual, it'll show you where this is here, where the little line is at the bottom. This is set up for single coil setup. You would have to take it apart, flip it around so that the large one's on the bottom for your dual coil. Of course, you have your juice flow control. So that's your locked. And if you can see down in there, that closes off the juice feeding system. Open that guy up, and then it opens those wells up. This is the 5 mil chimney. They do have a 7. Of course, you have your straight glass, and then you have your bubble, then your top here. And to fill, it is a 1/4 turn. So that makes it definitely easier on a smaller mod like that. Just a little 1/4 turn. There's your silicone kind of top or bung that they have a replacement for. Definitely like the fact they went with this little 1/4 turn on these guys here. All right, so like I said, I'd show you these. This is kind of what I had set up for the single coil. It's a bigger 3 millimeter diameter coil. And basically just how I did it is I envisioned, I need to clean it, is when you take a look, you have the bottom airflow here, you have the side here. When it goes into it, it's going to line up with that other side airflow. So imagine what it would look like if this wall here was over here, and that's kind of how I built it. So it was pretty much directly in the middle of all the airflow, the bottom and the 2 bits aside there. Really good with a 3mm. Just kind of follow that curve there that you can kind of see on that deck. How it has that little curve to it. That's just kind of how I did from there. And of course, clip them off at the rear here. And then on the dual coil, like I said, use Twisted Timmy's Lucky Number 7s. These are his 2.5mm aliens here. And all I did was pretty much put them straight, almost straight in. Push them in a little bit, and the way I looked at it is I wanted a little bit of gap on each side of the deck there, and then of course put your wicking in through here. So yeah, we'll take and put this all together and come back up on top, and I'll give you my thoughts on the Hadron Lite combo. All right, we are back up on the Hadron Lite, on a Hadron, there's no Y in there, Hadron Lite side-by-side 100-watt system here. So first and foremost, I know most of you are going to be like, you're doing this review, but not using the Supreme V3. Why? Well, one, I've already done the review on the Supreme V3. I even did some dive down on it with this as well. Really good RTA. I like the mod, and I wanted to test a smaller RTA on it again, a single coil guy. So nothing to do with the performance of the Supreme V3, just like using it. So with multiple devices. Let's get pros and cons out of the way first. So pro, definitely like, of course, like I said before, that's where I was going to put my button. I was going to do straight, so straight down, but the ergonomics of it are amazing. Barely holding on to it. You can still at least fire it and use it. I like how it's a tip feature. So if you're using something like a top coiler, like the Brunhild or the Artemis or any with those stainless steel cables, or Genesis style, you're always kind of tipping it. So I guess that could be a con for others if they like to fire with their finger instead of their thumb. I mean, you can, it's just, I mean, that's like awkward, but it's definitely more suited for this kind of, action. So I guess that's a pro or a con. The other pro for me, of course, is voltage mode. I mean, anymore, I hate to say it, if a regular device does not have voltage mode, I tend to go like, Now you can use Ohm's law. So if you're using, like, let's say a DNA, you can figure out what the wattage is for your resistance, and, putting in the calculator your 3.5, 3.7, 4.42 volts, and figure that wattage out. But I've actually done that before with devices, and I still tend to like it better in voltage mode than going to wattage mode on a non-voltage selection device. So you can do that, but since this has volts, dig it so much. And I know that's probably a niche little pro, and specifically me, high pro, but there might be others out there that share the same brain as me. I'm sorry if you do. But I definitely like, this could be a pro or con as well, the screen. So when you're using it, you're going to be covering the screen. Some people would say, why didn't you put it on the side, so on and so forth. But once you get it set up, you really don't need to worry about the screen. So for me, that was not a con at all. It was not a pro either. It is what it was. Now you might have to turn around and look and see where your battery's at. But for the most part, and it could be the person, I can start telling by the way it's vaping on when it's getting close to a low battery. Then I can just check real quick. So, but for some of you might want the screen in a completely different spot. I do like the buttons are on the bottom. I guess the con to that is, since it is such a small area, it is kind of with big beefy fingers. Sometimes it's hard to get to it. But since they are recessed, you can set this thing down. You're not going to have to worry about touching buttons whatsoever. And again, some people say, why didn't they put it on the front? Well, they're trying to keep it clean. And also, there's not a lot of real estate right there, too. So my only kind of, I guess, legitimate con is way this is really smooth. I would have liked more of almost a rubbery texture. Now, I've seen some mods that are close to this size that are black with that kind of rubbery texture, and it kind of does that gray powdery look to them. So that's probably why they didn't go to it, but it is kind of a hefty device. Now, normally since it's a small device, you're always going to have probably your thumb under it, so that's not an issue of it sliding out of your hand. Sometimes picking it up, though, if you're not careful, it could slide out of your hand. So I kind of wish it would have had almost not a smooth texture, or maybe some kind of grippiness to it. That would have made it amazing, and nobody, I don't think, could have had any issues with it whatsoever. But I can see a couple of people out there saying it's too smooth, too slippery, essentially. But it's so little, because I'm trying to figure out things, and it doesn't help. Like I said, I had a lot of these ideas to begin with before it was out. So it's like, I can't really say a lot of cons, because a lot of these deals were what I wanted in a mod. So how can you whine about that? But yeah, so I mean, maybe price point. Okay, let's say price point, because if you get just the mod, it's like $60. Again, so you can't even bitch about price point, really. About $60. If you get the combo, it's about 110, 120 places I saw it. And even if, pointing this out, since I took that off, somebody says, well, why would you do that surface right there? That's going to get all scratched up. I mean, they give you stickers. I just haven't put it on there. The little surface protection stickers. The reason I took this off is if you want to see some other devices on there and about what size you can go to. So let's go to the max. Let's go to a big boy. This is a top coiler, like I was telling you about. I use the Brunhild MTL quite often. This is the direct lung version, so you have an idea of what something really tall would look like. It's still not bad, even though that sucker is way above. If you're using like a top coiler, this is just really easy, and it keeps juice going up into those wells, into the wicks, and it makes it actually even a little easier to hold on to, because the airflow is way up here. Hold on to it right there. I mean, you're good to go. That's actually not bad. I kind of wish I would have had a black one instead now. Now, using something smaller, though, this is why I didn't put this together in a review, because I did try it real quick. Now, the other tip that I would have used in here is a little bit smaller. It's not horrible. I mean, your mouth is going to be above here, but when you use it the way that I think it's designed to come back like that, you're really kind of running into an issue with like your thumb and being able to fire and all that. So, I mean, you could do the whole, like I said, where it's awkward and kind of go off to the side and stuff like that. I just, like I said, it's just not quite tall enough, in my opinion. You can get a taller tip. But again, in my opinion, this was definitely meant for like a single coil 25 millimeter, like the Supreme V3 type of RTA, which and the reason I say single coils, this only goes up to 100 watts. So even if you have a build in there and you put it up to 3.7 volts for more of a mechanical fill, it still will not surpass 100 watts. So if your build's low enough that 3.7 volts equivalates to 120 watts, it's still going to cap out 100. So, and plus you're just going to eat through that battery, even though it is a up to 21700 device. So I really, really recommend a single coil device on it if you can. If not, other things will work. Like I said, I've been really, really enjoying the atemporal on it. And now since I did an actual fitment, I might actually try the Brunhild, put it in there and see how that works. That'll definitely help for your wicking, for people that have issues with wicking on Genesis style tanks or the rotted top coilers. That action is definitely going to help. But yeah, huge pros, couple little tiny little subjective cons. So definitely say, if you are a fan of side-by-sides or Steamcrave, or haven't had a side-by-side yet and just haven't jumped in and you're looking for a good one, that's what you need to grab. In my opinion, on the market right now, that is what you need to get. So, but that is all I got today for the Hadron Lite mod from Steamcrave. I just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking, and I'll check you later.